Hello, hello. Introduction video number 45. Yeah, seems to be 45. Well, what can we say? It's been going on for almost a year now, so not bad at all. Anyway, I hope you've been watching the previous videos in the series. So, as you may or may not know, what we do here at IELTS9PRO, we post a topic, you write an introduction. Now, because we're getting so many, we have to choose kind of 10, or we take the first 10 to add. I comment on those, and then we choose one person to write a complete essay, which we review and score. Okay, so let's have a look at this. What do we have here? So we have an opinion essay question. Some people believe that restoration of old buildings costs too much. We should demolish them and build new ones instead. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So let's take a look at the paraphrase first. So, as I've said before, a very useful phrase that you can use when it says some people believe, some people argue, simply say according to some. I've seen quite a lot of people with some stuff like a multitude of individuals or some similar kind of nonsense. You know, doesn't say that. Or somebody in the last one said like a majority of people. Well, that's not the same thing. So keep it simple. According to some, that works better. Okay? Restoration, restoring, as I've said before, if you can't think of a synonym, change the word form. Quite easy. Restore, restoration, restored, restoring, restorative, etc. That works better than finding a synonym that does not match. Saw some in the last video I commented on, and the paraphrase, the synonyms which they had used to paraphrase did not mean the same thing. Close but no cigar. So, if you're not sure, change the word form. Cost too much, far too expensive, demolish. Now, there's not a lot that you can really change here for this particular word. As it says, you don't have to change every single word. You don't have to do so. You know, as long as you've changed it to a certain extent and it's not simply copied. Because if the examiner sees 4 or 5 words that you have copied that's in the same order, unchanged, they'll cross those words out and take it away from your word count. That's how it goes. So be careful there. We should demolish, cheaper, cost too much, build new ones. So you could build, construct, ones acts as a pronoun to refer to buildings, etc. Okay. Now, what do we have to do now? Well, with all essays, first thing you have to do is decide what your opinion is. As I've said before, it's not a truth test. It doesn't matter what if it's your real opinion. It doesn't matter. It's not important. It's what you can support. Okay, what you can support. So I disagree, because some buildings are worth more in architectural terms. It's not all about cash and money, and a lot of buildings have a key they have a strong historical meaning. Okay, so you don't have to agree with my view that I disagree. You can agree, but yes, knock them all down and let's build some cheap shit, save some cash and spend the cash on something else. If you want to go down that route, you can do, but again, you've got to support what you tell me. Okay, that's how it works. So we'll have a look at my introduction at first, and then we'll take a look at yours. So let's take a look. According to some, restoring old buildings is far too expensive, and it would be cheaper to demolish them and construct new buildings instead. I disagree with this view, as some buildings are worth more in architectural terms rather than in monetary terms, and also these buildings have a key meaning in our historical past. Okay, so that's what I would do. That's where my essay would go. I'd be talking about, I say no, I disagree because certain building, so I'd think of some specific buildings as examples to illustrate my point. And, like in England, we have many old churches and cathedrals and minsters, which are very expensive to maintain. However, because of the history, they've been standing there for like 1,000 years. So maybe, it might be worth spending a bit to keep them intact. So I've been talking about that, history and culture. Maybe come up with some specific examples. I'm sure you have some famous buildings in your country that you could use as specific examples. Okay, so I think we've got, was it 10? Only 7? Oh, no, we've got 10. I don't really see this until Payman sends it over because, I don't have the time. I'm not always online. So, according to some, renovation, right, so I'll put an article there. The renovation of old buildings is pricey. Now, price is a bit informal. It's good as a paraphrase, but it's a little bit informal, so I will probably avoid it. It is better to tear them down. According to some, it's better to tear them down. From my point of view, building new constructions, well, building a construct is virtually the same as building. So, constructing new buildings, you can do it like that. But building new constructions, it's far better because of its economical and aesthetic point of view. So, well, apart from using point of view twice, which is a bit repetitive for the reader, from my point of view, building new constructions is far better because of its economical and aesthetic point of view. I would maybe change that and change a couple of things, maybe change pricey, but informal. Construct, building, construct. You could vary the language a little bit there. Okay. Some individuals believe that the restoration of old buildings was of money. Presumably you mean it's a waste. And it is better to destroy them, and build new ones instead. Well, you don't need to have two separate sentences. You can, use and as a conjunction. I completely agree with this point of view. Now, the old buildings should be renewed because they can take. Renewing something does not mean destroying it and building something else. It means that the older building itself should be renewed, made anew. So it's not quite the same thing, I don't think. I'm not quite sure what you actually mean here. Do you mean that old buildings should be renovated, be restored? I'm not quite clear what your point of view is here, because they can take many places what, of, where, how, and affect the city view. Again, I'm not so clear where this is going. I get the idea very generally, but I'm not quite clear where this particular essay is going. It's not so. I completely agree with his point of view that old buildings should be renewed. Does that mean restored, renovated? I'm not sure. And the examiner won't be so sure either. So, what do we have for the next one? Many people think that collapse, you mean collapsing. Well, it's not the same. The old buildings, what old buildings? Now, why do we have a definite article here? You only use a definite article if it's a specific thing or if you've previously introduced it. So we don't need that. Collapsing is not the same as demolishing. It's not the same thing. Collapsing the old buildings and constructing, I believe, you make that a continuous verb form. Constructing new ones is better than repairing them. Because restoration is much more expensive than rebuilding. Okay, in my opinion, I agree that restoration costs more than demolishing the buildings. However, punctuation. However, I also believe that new buildings make either new building in general or new buildings make. We don't need to pluralize both. Make the city look more beautiful. So, okay, that's not too bad. Not too bad. Just watch your punctuation there. Okay. As a popular belief, is that supposed to be according to some? Okay. Which is, it doesn't say, where does it say that? Where does it say that? Costs too much. It doesn't say anything about a vast amount. It doesn't say it. Vast amount of money if we decide to build old constructions. So it is recommended to replace them with new buildings rather than fixing outdated ones. I strongly vote for this notion. Well, you're not voting. You're not being asked to. It's either agree or disagree. We don't need this, and it's not a notion, is it? You either say I agree or I disagree. I strongly vote for this notion due to wasting the big budget. What big budget? Due to what? Well, how? Due to what? That implies some kind of cause and effect or consequence, but there is none here. Due to wasting the big budget, and why do we have a definite article? What big budget are you speaking about? You haven't introduced it yet, so we wouldn't use a definite article. Due to restoring our buildings. However, this may, I suppose you want cause, but verb there. Cities to lose a part of their ancient landscape. Okay, this is a bit confused. It needs to be structured in a more logical way. And it doesn't really say that, just say I agree, I disagree, in my opinion, in my view. That's fine. Not I strongly vote for this notion. Okay, so not too bad. I could do with a bit of reworking though. What do we have here? Not this, again, many individuals. Wow. Well, it doesn't say many individuals. It just says, what does it say again? Let's go back. Some people. That's not many, is it? Individuals. Simply say according to some. That works fine. Where are we? Yeah. So, many individuals think that the renovation of ancient structures, Ancient is like the pyramids, or I don't know, or the city of Petra. That's like ancient, or the what's that thing in Athens, or the Colosseum in Rome. That's ancient structures. That's not quite the same. It's not slightly different kind of buildings, I think. Come here. Slightly different buildings. Ancient structures, maybe not. Costs a lot. Well, yeah, but it's not about costs a lot. It says costs too much, not costs a lot. It's too much. It's not a lot, but we can afford it. It's too much and we can't afford it. That's what it's talking about. Others believe we should knock them down, presumably, and substitute them with new ones. I completely agree. We should reconstruct. Well, if you're reconstructing old buildings, you're not knocking them down. It's like renovate, renew again. You're doing it again. So we should replace, maybe, not reconstruct. I think you might mean replace old buildings with new ones, because of a high maintenance price. So it's not a price, it's a cost of the old one. And being breathtaking overlooks our cities. I suppose that's something to do with the view, but how you phrase that, examiners are not going to know what you're talking about. Being breathtaking, because the high maintenance cost of the old one and being breathtaking overlooks our cities, that doesn't mean anything, I'm afraid. I know what you think it means, but it doesn't. Some people think restoring old buildings, well, do it properly if you're going to do it. Some people think restoring old buildings needs a huge amount of money. It doesn't say huge. It doesn't say, it says it costs too much. It doesn't say huge, enormous, ginormous. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say new houses, not houses. It's not talking about housing. That's a specific kind of building. Now, if you wanted to go into that in your essay and talk about that, we shouldn't spend money on these old historical buildings because there's a housing crisis in my country. Okay, you could do that, but it doesn't specifically say houses, though, in the topic. What's your capitalization? Why is it not capitalized? Well, I think it's important to look after historical buildings and also develop a new city too. So I'm not quite. So your opinion. I'm not really clear what your opinion is, because it says, do you agree or disagree? So this seems to be that you kind of agree with both, I think. So okay, you would have to spell that out a little bit more. That's not so clear for the introduction. Again, I keep saying, when people say, why do you say this? Simply keep it simple. Treat the examiner as an idiot. That's what you do, Spell things out. I think this, I think that. Some people think this, I think that. Spell things out so there's no ambiguity. So the examiner, everything is crystal clear. Because here it seems that you favour both opinions, which you can do, but that makes a harder essay. Because it's not a discussion, it's asking, what do you think about this? And it's easier to say, I agree, I disagree, than write a balanced discussion essay, and you don't have to. Okay, let's see what we've got next. Some people think that renewal of we need the article, the renewal of old buildings. If it's an abstract noun, we usually make it a plural, buildings, like societies, etc. Okay? That the renewal of old buildings imposes an enormous cost on societies. Well, it doesn't say that. It's not what it says. Again, let's go back. Let's go back. Some people believe that restoration of old buildings costs too much. It doesn't say about an enormous societal cost. When you're paraphrasing, when you're writing your introductions, add nothing, omit nothing. The time for developing your ideas is in paragraph 2 and 3. That's when you can talk about, these are costs and etc. But in your introduction, you don't need that. Simply tell the examiner what the topic is and what you think, your opinion, and where the essay is going. And if you do that, you'll be fine. Okay, so people think that you'll have business numbers, cost of society, not down and be replaced by new ones. Why is that pluralized? By new ones? I entirely disagree with destroying old buildings, but this does not mean progress should stop. So again, it's quite, both these introductions are a little bit short, all right? And they're both somewhat ambiguous. I'm not really sure what your opinion is. So this one seems to support both, and this one, I disagree, but some caveat. This does not mean progress should stop. So, okay, again, we'd have to see the rest of the essay and what you say, how that works out. But that's not bad. So it is argued from an economic perspective, renovating old constructions, old buildings, would not be invalid. That doesn't mean what you think it means, not in this perspective, so I won't use that. And it's not argued. It doesn't say, it's not an argument. It's simply a statement of opinion. That's it. It's not an argument. An argument is when you are trying to persuade somebody to change their mind. And it's not trying to do that. It's not a discussion question where it says some people think this, some people think that. It simply says, some people think old buildings cost too much, let's knock them down, build some new ones, yes or no. That's all it says. Okay, so let's go back. Where are we? So I don't know if you mean would not be viable or would be too expensive. I think that's what you're trying to paraphrase. And it can pose significant expenditures. Well, expenditure, but why there's no need to make that a plural. Hence, replacing them with new ones should be noted. Should be noted what? By whom? Who should note this? And simply to note something doesn't do anything. So that doesn't quite work. I partly agree with this view, however, I'm not sure what your... So you partly agree, you believe some old buildings must be preserved. Okay, so, right. Writing an essay is hard enough as it is. You can write a partial view, but, it's much easier, and I think for most people that's where they would go. It's much easier to say yes, no. Because if you partially agree, you've got to say, well, I don't agree with that, however, I agree with this because of this reason, because of this example. However, if you consider, if you're not 100% confident in your language abilities, then why make things harder? That's what I'm saying. Why make things harder on yourself? No, there's no need. Simply, yes, no. No, it's not. Sentence 1, no, it's not. It doesn't say that. So, I've mentioned this before. Try to avoid this kind of generalization. IELTS do not choose controversial issues. They don't choose hot button topics or hot topics or contentious topics, whatever you want to call it. They just don't. You don't need this sentence for an opener. You don't need a hook. The examiner is going to read your writing regardless. And it's not what it says. It doesn't say that at all. Add nothing, omit nothing. That's my advice to you. So, while some believe that it is important, that what is important? What is this it? What does this it refer to? Old buildings. Due to their historical value, others believe they should not stand in the way of development, which is resembled by the building. Well, this is a bit long-winded, which is resembled. So, it kind of looks like it, but it's not really it. Which is resembled by the building of new infrastructures. In order to support one view over the other, they have extensive importance. No idea what you're talking about. All right, get to the point. Keep it clear. Keep it simple. All right. Criteria. Go on then. I'll just quickly open this file and I'll show you. Where are we? Criteria. Come on. All right. Clear position. Here we go. Task response 9. Clear, fully developed position which directly answers the question. Right? And if you do that, what do you get? You get this. So, clear, simple. That's it. That's all that you need. Okay? Because that's not very clear at all. I get the general idea, but it could be simpler. That's all. They have extensive importance for what this so they as a pronoun refers to what? They have extensive importance. Now, the examiner is not going to be wasting time trying to work out what you are saying. They will simply mark it accordingly. The examiner has a big pile of essays and they get paid per essay that they mark. All right? And they're not going to be spending too much time over your essay. If they don't understand it, they'll mark it according to the criteria. They're not going to be asking a friend, hey man, come here. What do you think about this? What does this sentence mean? Well, they're not going to do it. If they don't understand it, they'll simply mark it according to the criteria accordingly. So keep it clear, keep it simple, so there's no ambiguity in the mind of the reader. If you do that, you'll be fine. So recently there have been a great debate. Well, what's this? Singular or plural? And no, it doesn't say that at all. There have not been any. So recently there have been great debates, or there has been a great debate, but there hasn't, over whether or not the renovation of old buildings should be banned. Banned doesn't say anything about banned. It says it costs too much. It doesn't say that. So sentence 1 is irrelevant. Some individuals, according to some, these repairs are wasting money, and constructing new ones is better because the construction. Okay, I strongly disagree with this view for 3 reasons, and you don't even tell me what they are. So don't think so. I don't think that's particularly useful as an introduction. So what's the best one? Let me have a look. Well, I think, that one. But out of yours, let's have a look. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Which one did I think was best? Okay, that's not bad either. That's not bad. I think Ellen's is not bad. Could do. Usually hers are not bad, but I think point of view, pricey. So that, that's not bad, but I would maybe change some of the vocab. So yeah. Okay, that's all I've got to say about those. So what you can take away is the importance of synonym. If it doesn't work, don't use it. If you can't think of one, don't use it. Change the word form. We've got several examples here where the paraphrasing does not really work. Also, we've got 2 or 3 examples here of things that are not included in the topic. If it doesn't say it, you don't include it. Add nothing, omit nothing. It's that simple, okay? So we've got several here that are things in the, the rubric, the topic does not include. So watch your paraphrasing. Don't change the wording. Make sure that, that you don't add. If you want to add things, then you do it in your body paragraphs, where you develop your main ideas. But for the introduction, simply restate the topic, express your opinion, and give some indication of where the essay is going. If you can do that, you'll be fine. So I think that's it, really. Yeah. We've got some paraphrasing doesn't quite work. Some things that have been added that don't really feature. So try and avoid those 2 things, and you'll be fine. So I'm going to choose a winner and make a video of that person's essay with corrections and scoring. And we'll have a new topic and a new video probably next week for intros, and it should be number 46. So I'll see you then.